Right, let's jump out of the car, shall we? It's going to be a bit hot in here. So hello everyone, welcome to this video where I'm actually going to be doing a point of view review / drive with this S2000 of mine. It's a little bit dirty right now, but it looks good because it's red. It kind of hides the dirt quite nicely, especially with the black alloys. They definitely hide the brake dust. This is by far not the cleanest example of an S2000, but it's basically the cheapest one you can get around right now. It's all of a sudden gotten very windy. What I'm gonna do is actually open the engine bay real quick. So as you can see here, this is the F20C engine. This is actually a Japanese import car from what I've been told. So it has slightly more brake horsepower from the engine out of the factory. It's not the cleanest engine bay. It definitely will get a tidy up from me in the near future, but this is the magic piece. 9,000 RPM rev limit, and it is genuinely one of the best engines that I've ever driven with for day-to-day running around. You can actually see from how the car is, the engine basically starts after the front struts, which is actually really cool. Got people walking past and driving past right now. Normally this road is really quiet, but yeah, the engine basically starts after the front strut, so it's actually a front engine, well, front mid-engine car. And another really cool thing is if you look at where the rear of the suspension is, which is about here, near enough all the weight of the car is balanced in between the wheels, which is really cool. But that's a quick look at the engine bay done. Not going to make it too long here. We'll jump inside. Got my camera gear with me, nice and safe. But as you can see, the car is actually really spacious inside. It's actually not too bad. I've had my friends in the car who are well over 6 foot. Some of them are bodybuilders and they fit fine. In fact, one of them is looking to buy one himself. Only couple of things is when you are driving the car, the steering column is not movable in any way, shape or form. So that means this steering column is basically gonna stay in this position. And when you're actually sat in the seat, you probably don't recognize this, but the steering wheel is slightly to your right. I've noticed when you're in the middle of the seat, it's just off on a slight little tilt. You're not going to really notice it. In fact, most of the time I keep my left hand on the gear shifter because you're constantly changing through the gears. That's where the fun is. But yeah, that's it. Now you can probably see from the wind noise, there's not a huge amount of it considering it is a fabric roof. But before it gets too dark, I'm going to take my jacket off, get the seatbelt on. Put my jacket looking a little bit nicer than that. Come on, son. The fun part, so as you can see, it's actually got 167,000. I'm not sure if that's all miles. Again, it's been a Japanese import. But clutch in, engine start button over here. That's it, nicely turned on. I've got my phone holder. I've got a little magnetic strip just here, which holds the phone. But behind here is where the radio is. Need to tidy that up a little bit more, but for the time being, this is where it's at. We'll get the car slightly demisted and we'll start driving. So the S2000, one of my favorite all-time cars I've ever driven. It is so much fun to drive around. Genuinely, I can't think of a car that I would like to replace this with. For the price, the reliability, the performance, everything, it just has it all. speedo is slightly out, by the way, in case anyone does think, oh, it goes over. But yeah, couple of little things that I've learned about the car now. Obviously this is the window demist mode. Central part here, that basically circulates heat out of these vents and through the bottom of the car, and I believe from behind the seat as well, and it creates a nice ambient temperature for the car. The throttle response from this engine is amazing. It's one of the most fun bits about the car. You know, if you drive this car, I hate driving over that bit. Yes, by all means, this car is not the quietest of things you can drive. It is a convertible fabric top, and it is a sports car, so you kind of don't drive it for the sake of it being a Grand Tourer or just a comfortable, quiet family car. This is the fun car you have in your garage. But with that being said, I did daily drive this for a good while, for a good month or so, and I had no complaints. For I think 450 or 500 miles done for the trip to Wales, and it did that amazingly. I have no complaints with this car whatsoever. The gearbox is possibly one of, if not the greatest thing about this interior. Its location is perfect. Your arm can just rest on the armrest nicely. It's got a really short throw out of the factory, and it just feels exactly what you want a manual gearbox to feel like. So good that I'm actually thinking of getting a gearbox like this for my E30. In fact, I'm actually even thinking of doing a K24 swap for the E30 instead of the M52. But we don't want to digress into that. It's all about the S2000 right now. But anyone who has driven these cars, I'll be really shocked if they say, oh, it's really underpowered. I don't believe it's underpowered. I believe that the engine, the way it drives, you have to adjust yourself to be able to drive it properly. You have to understand the rev range on this car is 0 to basically 9,000 RPM. But when a car's like that, it doesn't mean, like majority of cars, if the engine revs up to 6,000 RPM, torque is going to be around 2 to 3,000. With this car, it's more 3.5 to 5, 6,000, where you get a good little mid-range torque, where that's kind of the happy place to be driving the car with. But otherwise, the car is happiest in that upwards. Below that, yeah, the car's not really made to have that low end torque because the engine's not manufactured that way. It doesn't feel happy there. So I don't see why people would drive the car expecting to change gear at 2,000 RPM all the time. It's just not made for that kind of driving. And that's the fastest car in the world, a white van. Everyone should know that. But the layout of this interior, one of the nicest, easiest to live with layouts. Yes, I've heard people get hitting on the volume up and down control and the heater controls every so often. It can happen. It's happened to me once or twice, but it's not too bad. You know, everything's literally laid out around you. The heater controls are right here for you to just get your perfect driving comfortable position. The gearbox, I'm not sure if my gearbox just needs a good engine oil change, but once it's cold, it's a little bit more notchy, but once it warms up, it is so smooth. The clutch on this is incredibly buttery smooth. Want to get in front of as many cars as I can before the next little section. Oh, this gearbox, oof. Because you can't rev the car out 24/7, I actually think the gearbox is the bit that you enjoy the most while driving the car. beautiful houses around here as well. So what's the car like to drive? Well, because of where the engine is placed and being front mid-engine rear-wheel drive, it drives, I would say, as close as you can get to a go-kart without looking at a Lotus or maybe MR2s. But because the weight is at the front, it does make the rear of the car very twitchy at times, because there's not really much weight there, and I would say it's quite a short wheelbase, considering that you've got literally nothing behind the boot and not a huge amount behind you from where you're sitting. You've basically got the fuel tank and the sunroof mechanism and cubbyhole area for the sunroof to go into. Oh, and heel and toe in this car. Rev matching on the way down. I'm actually happy I got past that bus, because I can slowly get over that bump. I've never been here before with a truck in front of me, so I'm hoping that that turns off somewhere. These are the kind of roads that this car is made for. Please turn off, please. Please turn to the right or do something else. Do not go straight on. Please, please, please. You're not indicating. This is not what I want to see. This is not what I want to see. No. Oh, this is horrible. Right, I'm gonna be quiet now. Just let you guys enjoy the car. There's three ways of enjoying this car. One, the gearbox. Changing gears, genuinely one of the nicest gearboxes to drive with. Two, the handling. With the handling, it feels so direct, so nimble. You wouldn't believe that this car actually has electronic steering. It's one of the first cars that I've experienced where it's an early model car, but it just feels so good. And three, that engine. 9,000 RPM. Oh, you can literally keep a car into third gear and just go crazy. It just feels so good, so happy. nice spot to actually just get some photos of the car while I'm here. But what we'll do now is actually put the roof down, turn the heating up just a little bit. Now, a cool little feature actually I've put in, if you leave it on the first notch, well, when I say put in, it's just something I've done. As long as the handbrake light is turned on, oh yes, drive all the way in. Everyone's probably going to be thinking, what the hell is he doing with the roof down? But as I said earlier, this keeps the car nice and warm inside. And again, the really cool thing, put the top up whilst driving. Now I've actually changed over to the cap setup. So earlier on I was using the headband, which I'll be honest with you, gives you a little bit of a headache from wearing it for a little too long. Let me just check. Oh look, they're driving with the top down. This is much more point of view driven. Nice of them to do, since they knew that they were driving a lot slower than everyone, just to let everyone else pass. is going to be a mess right now. Probably got a mark across my forehead from the GoPro as well, but I just wanted to say I hope you all did enjoy this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment if you want to see the car driven any other way. I'll look to take it to the track someday soon once I get it a bit more ready. I can also do some in-town driving around as well. More than happy to do that and actually discuss a bit more about fuel economy, reliability and all those things if you like to see that content. Also want to give a quick shout out to Nakib from Scotland, or Nakib, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce your name, but thank you always for leaving a comment in my videos. You know, it has been appreciated, so I just wanted to say that as well. And to everyone else who is a subscriber, viewer, really appreciate you guys always showing me that support. You know, I hope I'm giving out the content that you guys want to see. So yeah, but yeah, please everyone do subscribe to the channel. It really, I'm trying to hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so every subscription counts, every share counts. And if you want to see specific content from me, comments, I need to see in the comments, and then I will get it done. But for now, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.